Hey everyone, it's Miss Brooks with your Daily Dose of Math. Today we're going to be reviewing how to graph coordinate points in preparation for our study in Chapter 2, Linear Equations. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to talk about where we graph coordinate points. So coordinate points are graphed on what we call a coordinate grid. And a coordinate grid is made by drawing a vertical line and then intersecting that vertical line with a horizontal line. Now the vertical line, that is called our y-axis. So we label it with a y, whereas the horizontal line, that is called our x-axis. So we label it with an x. And then where the two axes meet, where they intersect that point, we're going to go ahead and label it on this picture, and that point has its own special name. That point, which is located at 0, 0, is called the origin. And this name is very important because the origin tells us that is where we will start anytime that we graph. So it's very important to know that the point 0, 0 is our original point. Now we won't always be graphing points that have zeros in it, so it's important to understand where we're going to graph different numbers, whether they're positive or negative. So to the right of the origin on the horizontal axis, those are positive x values. Whereas to the left of the origin on the x-axis, those are negative x values. Similarly, in the y-axis, you have positive values and negative values as well. The positive values are the numbers that are above the origin, and then your negative values would be those numbers below the origin. So right and up are positive numbers, left and down are negative numbers. So the last thing we want to take a look at is basically in each area of the graph, what kind of numbers do we have? So in this first section, both the x values and y values are positive. So when we see points, both numbers are going to be positive values. However, in the area next to this, the x values are negative. So we're first going to see a negative number, and then the second number will be positive because the y values are positive. In the next area, both of the numbers are negative, both the x and the y values. And then in the last area, your x values would be positive, but then that x value will be followed by a negative number because the y value is negative. And I'm just putting parentheses around each set of points that I'm doing with the signs. Now as I went through this, I said each section. Now there's actually specific names for each area, and those names are quadrants. So each area of the graph is known as a quadrant, and each one has its own number. So we start where everything's positive, and that's called quadrant 1. And then from quadrant 1, we go counterclockwise to name the other quadrants. So to the left, that would be quadrant 2. And if you notice, I'm also using Roman numerals to name them. That is how you are to name the quadrants, is with Roman numerals. Below quadrant 2, that would be called quadrant 3. And then next to quadrant 3 and below quadrant 1, that last area is quadrant 4, which is represented with an IV in Roman numerals. So the key things I wanted you to know was that you have an x and a y axis that intersect at the place called the origin, and that there are 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you do need to know the location of each quadrant. So now we're going to go take a look at some different examples. So the first thing you want to know is that every point we take a look at is going to be written in the form x comma y. If you have difficulty remembering that it's x, y, think about the alphabet and x comes before y. Now in the point, the x value is going to tell us whether we are going left or whether we are going right in our graph. We will of course be going left if the number is negative, and we'll be going right if the number is positive. Similarly, the y value is going to be telling us whether we are going up or down from the origin. So we will be going up from the origin if it's a positive number, and we will be going down if it is a negative number. So y tells us up and down, whereas x tells us left and right. Now 0, of course, is neither positive nor negative, so 0 means we won't move either direction. So let's take a look at the first example. We want to plot the point -5, 2. So when you plot points, first thing that you do is you start at the origin where the two axes intersect. So I usually like to hover my cursor over the origin, and then we want to go the x and then the y. So in this case, x is -5 because that's what's showing first in my point. So I need to go left 5 units. So I'm counting 2, 3, 4, 5 units, and then I need to go 2 units from that in the y direction. So that's going to be up 2. So right there where I have that red dot is where I'm going to plot the point -5, 2. It's just representing one singular point. So we counted left 5, up 2, and where that lands is where we plot the point. For the second example, we want to plot the point 4, -1. So again, I always start at the origin where the two axes intersect, and then I look at the first number to find my x and the second number to find my y. So this tells me the x value is 4 because it's the first number in the point. So I need to go to the right 4 units. So I'm counting out 4 units and then holding my pencil there, and then I need to go -1 unit in the y direction. So -1 tells me to go down 1 point from the y direction. So right here where the red dot is showing is where I'm going to plot my final point. That right there is where the point 4, -1 would appear. Our next two examples want us to actually write the ordered pair for a certain point. So the first example wants us to write the ordered pair for point A. So looking at the graph, here I have point A. And when I write the ordered pair, first off, it starts with 2 parentheses and a comma. I would then go plug in what the x value and the y value is at those points. So to figure out the x value, I'm going to look at the horizontal line and I'm going to line it up with my point. So if I line up right here, I see that the A is right smack dab in the middle of 4 and 6. So that means that my x value for this point is 5. Once I know the x value, I'm then going to line up my point with the y value and see where is it reaching that vertical axis. So we can see it's landing at 3. So this point A is at the point 5, 3. The fourth example, same process, but we want to figure out where point C is located. So point C, again, I'm going to line up first. Where is it with respect to the horizontal axis? So here's C. If I go straight up and down, I see that it's landing at the point -6. So when I write my answer, I've got the x's at -6. And then I also need to figure out where's it at on that horizontal, or I'm sorry, we just did the horizontal, on that vertical line. So right here, if I match it up, it matches with the -4 on the y-axis. So this point's at -6, -4. So far we've plotted points, we've read points off a graph. The last thing that we want to talk about is being able to identify what quadrant points are in. So let's take a look at our last 4 examples. Example 5 asks us what quadrant is the point 4, 6 located in. So what I'm going to do is think about when I plot 4, 6, starting at the origin, 4 would mean I go to the right, 6 would mean I go up. So I see that I'm landing where quadrant 1 is. So a point that is all positive numbers is in quadrant 1. For number 6, what quadrant is the point 4, -6 in? So again, if I think about from starting at my origin, if I want to go 4, that means I'm going to the right, and then -6 would mean I'm going down. So I'm sitting here in quadrant 4. So number 6, we are in quadrant 4. For number 7, what quadrant is the point -4, -6 in? So again, think about starting at your origin. We have to go negative, which is left, then negative, which is down. So we would be in quadrant 3. And then lastly, we have to figure out where the point -4, 6 would be quadrant-wise. So -4 is to the left, +6 is up. So we can see that we're in quadrant 2. So this concludes our lesson on reviewing how to plot points, the axes, and the 4 different quadrants. If you have any questions, please ask Miss Brooks. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time on your Daily Dose of Math with Miss Brooks.